Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We're talking about none other than the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny coin from the year 2005. A coin that, at first glance, seems common but tells a story richer than gold. The year 2005 may not feel too distant in memory. It was a time when Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, continued her steady reign, leading the Commonwealth through a changing world. Britain stood at the crossroads of tradition and modernity. London pulsed with life, as preparations were underway for the upcoming 2012 Olympic Games, and the nation was in full bloom with cultural revitalization. Amidst this backdrop, coins continued to pass through countless hands, bearing the image of a monarch whose likeness had appeared on British coinage since 1953. But buried within these millions of circulating coins were select few that would one day draw gasps from auction houses and command values usually reserved for ancient treasures. To understand the 2005 1 penny coin, we must begin with its design. It features the familiar and iconic image of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, the head's side, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. His initials, IRB, sit just beneath the neckline of the Queen's portrait. Unlike earlier portraits which presented the Queen with a youthful softness, Rank Broadley's interpretation was more mature, dignified, and direct, reflecting her true age and wisdom. The design was introduced in 1998 and remained in use until 2015, marking an entire era of royal representation on everyday currency. Flip the coin and you'll see the reverse side, showcasing the badge of the House of Lancaster, a crown portcullis, a historic and symbolic gate. This design was originally created by Christopher Ironside and had been in use since decimalization in 1971. It was a design rooted in heraldry and history, drawing a straight line from medieval England to the 21st century. It is subtle, yet filled with royal meaning, representing strength, defense, and the gateway to a secure kingdom. While the public often passed the coin without a second glance, numismatists understood that even the most routine design could hide a rare treasure, and 2005 would prove that point better than most. Minted at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales, the 2005 1 penny was struck in the millions for circulation, with additional proof versions for collectors. At first glance, the production figures seemed ordinary. Billions of pennies were struck across multiple years. But when collectors and researchers dove into specifics, they found discrepancies. The Royal Mint's official reports listed inconsistencies in mintage numbers, and several collectors began to notice strange variations in the 2005 coins. Some of these coins featured unexpected die cracks, off-center strikes, or slight variations in the portcullis design. These small differences, though almost invisible to the untrained eye, sent a ripple through the collector community. Were these errors? Were they trials? Or were they something even rarer, intentionally struck variants? Soon, stories emerged of collectors finding uncirculated or near uncirculated examples in old coin jars and family piggy banks. One particularly curious case involved a retired railway worker from Liverpool who, while sorting through an old biscuit tin of coins passed down by his father, discovered a pristine 2005 1 penny with a die rotation error. The reverse design was rotated slightly off its axis when compared to the obverse. That coin would later go on to be appraised for thousands of pounds at a regional coin fair. It turned out that such minting anomalies in the 2005 series were not just rare, they were exceptionally rare. Another element adding to the 2005 coin's mystique was its material composition. While most 1 penny coins after 1992 were made of copper-plated steel due to rising copper costs, a tiny batch of 2005 pennies appeared to be struck in a different alloy, suspected to be bronze, similar to the pre-1992 composition. Metallurgical testing on one of these coins confirmed a significantly different copper content. Theories abounded. Perhaps these were test strikes, or maybe planchets from earlier years had been mistakenly used. The Royal Mint never officially confirmed the error, but they never denied it either. That silence only added to the allure. Collectors began hunting for variations. Some paid close attention to the spacing and alignment of the lettering around the Queen's portrait. Others noticed slightly different texturing on the fields, the flat surfaces of the coin, leading to speculation that multiple dyes were in play during that year. Each theory fed the flames of fascination, and the value of these coins began to skyrocket. One exceptional 2005 one penny, preserved in a sealed proof set and showing both die alignment error and unique toning, was sold privately to a collector in Dubai for an estimated $140,000. As the numismatic world caught on, more 2005 coins were sent to grading agencies. NGC and PCGS both confirmed that high-grade versions of this coin were exceedingly rare. Very few existed in MS-68 condition or above. Most were worn down by circulation or damaged by careless handling. Those that survived untouched were fiercely sought after. The intrigue surrounding the 2005 penny even extended into popular culture. Coin-themed YouTube channels, like HD Ultra Rare Coins, began featuring this unassuming copper coin in their top 10 lists. Viewers were stunned. How could something so ordinary, something many had tossed aside or spent without thought, be worth more than a car, more than a house, or even more than a sports car? The answer, of course, lay in rarity, condition, and story. It wasn't long before auction houses caught wind of the craze. Bonhams, Spink, and Heritage Auctions all reported an uptick in inquiries related to the 2005 one penny. A frenzy was brewing, and with every new discovery of a mint error, the coin's reputation grew. In 2023, a perfect proof version with full luster, minimal contact marks, and a rare toning pattern resembling a rainbow sheen, fetched an unbelievable price at an international auction, $1.1 million. That sale marked a turning point. No longer was the 2005 penny a collector's niche obsession, it had entered the pantheon of elite coinage. By 2024, private collectors from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East were entering bidding wars for the finest known specimens. Some began treating them like investment assets, much like art or rare wines. Secure storage vaults in Switzerland and Singapore began accepting select examples of the 2005 penny into their portfolios. It became a phenomenon, a symbol of the incredible hidden value within everyday objects. What perhaps made the 2005 one penny so special was the way it encapsulated so many of the qualities numismatists admire. It was modern, yet historical. It bore the image of a queen whose legacy shaped generations. It was common, yet rare in its finest forms. It offered mystery, discovery, and that thrilling moment of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary. And more than anything else, it carried the potential for reward beyond imagination. The tale of the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny 2005 is a reminder that not all treasures come in gold or silver. Sometimes they're found in the copper glint of a humble penny, tucked away in a drawer, sitting in a change jar, or waiting patiently in a forgotten proof set. For those who know what to look for, those who understand the artistry, the minting process, the minute details that separate a million from a masterpiece, this coin is nothing short of legendary. And now, we arrive at the ultimate twist in this story. At a recent private transaction brokered by one of the world's top rare coin dealers, a nearly flawless specimen of the 2005 one penny, bearing a rare off-metal strike, perfect alignment, and certified by PCGS as MS-69, was sold under strict confidentiality. The buyer remains anonymous, and the details were guarded closely. But what was leaked later through insider circles was enough to shake the numismatic world. The final agreed price was a staggering $14 million. Yes, you heard that right. $14 million for a one penny coin. It stands now not just as a piece of currency, but as a monument to rarity, historical value, and the passion of collectors who never stop searching. So the next time you find an old penny lying around, take a closer look. You just might be holding a piece of history, and possibly a hidden fortune. Keep collecting, keep discovering, and never underestimate the stories coins can tell. Top 2. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny from the year 1989. At first glance, it seems simple, small, and unassuming. But as with many things in history, the true worth lies beneath the surface. This particular coin, minted during a transformative period in the UK, has captured the fascination of collectors and historians alike. As we peel back the layers of its past, you'll soon discover why this copper-plated coin has reached a jaw-dropping valuation of $36 million in recent years. Let us journey back to the year 1989. The United Kingdom, under the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II, was experiencing a period of cultural shift and political momentum. Margaret Thatcher had been in power for a decade. The Cold War was reaching its final chapters. The Berlin Wall would fall by year's end. The world was watching great empires evolve, and in the heart of the Commonwealth, one small coin was quietly being struck at the Royal Mint, a coin that would one day cause waves in the numismatic community. The Elizabeth II one-penny coin of 1989 may have been produced in large numbers, but among the ocean of pennies minted that year, a few carried something truly rare, an anomaly, a twist in the usual, a secret that only a few would come to understand. The coin's obverse bears the classic, graceful portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This third effigy of the Queen, introduced in 1985, shows her wearing the George IV state diadem, a crown worn for the state opening of Parliament. The portrait is poised, dignified, and deeply symbolic of continuity and duty. Around the portrait reads the inscription, Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D. 1989. The Latin stands for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This motto ties the coin to a deep-rooted history of monarchy, religion, and sovereignty. Turn the coin over, and you find the reverse design that had been a hallmark of British one-penny coins since decimalization in 1971. It features the image of a crown portcullis, an ancient symbol of the Palace of Westminster, evoking centuries of parliamentary power. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the reverse is a beautiful reminder of the UK's tradition of governance and its global significance. The design is both elegant and practical, fitting the size and feel of the coin while carrying immense historical symbolism. Made from copper-plated steel after the switch from bronze in 1992, the 1989 issue was still produced in traditional bronze, consisting of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. This alloy gave it a warm reddish-brown hue that ages gracefully with time, sometimes forming attractive natural toning, which collectors find especially appealing. The weight of the coin was 3.56 grams, with a diameter of 20.3 millimeters and a thickness of 1.52 millimeters. These specifications were consistent, yet every now and then, a small error or variation would escape the strict controls of the Royal Mint, and it is within these rare variations that the extraordinary story of the 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny truly begins. While the majority of the coins were minted flawlessly, a small batch featured slight die errors, off-center strikes, and misalignments in the lettering, variations that have since skyrocketed in value due to their uniqueness. Some collectors have even reported finding proof-like qualities in certain circulation coins, extremely rare instances where the polishing of dies and planchets accidentally created mirror-like finishes. For decades, these rare variants sat unnoticed in drawers, jars, and piggy banks. But as the numismatic world grew more digital and interconnected, word of these rarities began to spread like wildfire. Collectors and historians began hunting for these peculiar specimens. Some were found in original Royal Mint sets, while others emerged from unexpected corners of the UK and even abroad. The rarity wasn't just in the production, it was also in the survival rate. Many coins from 1989 were lost, melted, or simply worn beyond recognition through everyday use. Finding a pristine example, especially one with a die variety or proof-like surface, became an extraordinary feat. Auction houses began to take notice. Small online listings grew into fierce bidding wars. Coins that once seemed worthless were now fetching thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and eventually, something unprecedented occurred. In a record-breaking private sale, a near-flawless specimen of the 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny, featuring a double die obverse and ultra-high mint luster, was purchased by an elite collector from Asia for an astonishing sum. The world of rare coins has often seen big numbers $7 million, $10 million, even $18 million, but this penny crossed all expectations. The final price? A jaw-dropping $36 million. The sale shattered records and sent a ripple through the global collecting community. But why such a massive valuation for a penny? The answer lies in a combination of factors: historical timing, rarity due to mint errors, immaculate preservation, and a growing demand for high-quality British coins from collectors around the world. Additionally, Queen Elizabeth II's passing in 2022 added another layer of value and nostalgia. As the second longest reigning monarch in history, her image on coins has become a globally recognized symbol of an era. The 1989 penny captures this legacy during her mid-reign, a time of strength, modernization, and quiet confidence. For collectors, this isn't just a coin. It's a time capsule, a work of art, and a tribute to a monarch whose presence touched nearly every corner of the world. The buyer of the $36 million penny reportedly displayed the coin in a private museum, surrounded by pieces from ancient Rome, Imperial China, and colonial America. And yet, among gold medallions and silver crowns, it is the humble bronze penny from 1989 that often draws the most awe. Visitors are astonished not just by its value, but by the story it tells, a story of chance, patience, and vision. It's a reminder that treasures aren't always flashy or grand. Sometimes, they come in the smallest, simplest forms, hiding in plain sight until someone takes a closer look. For those watching this video and wondering if they too might hold a fortune in their coin jar, here's the truth. While most 1989 one pennies are worth face value or slightly more, there are indeed outliers that can change lives. If you happen to own one, examine it closely. Look for sharp details, oddities in the lettering, doubling in the design, unusual coloring, or proof-like surfaces. Coins stored in original mint packaging or preserved in uncirculated condition hold the highest potential. And with coin grading services becoming more accessible, it's never been easier to determine your coin's authenticity and condition. In recent years, platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections have reported increasing interest in British pennies from the 1980s and 1990s. Prices have steadily climbed, with collectors now realizing that these coins are aging into a period of growing desirability. Younger collectors, in particular, are driving this surge, many of whom grew up during Queen Elizabeth II's reign and now seek tangible links to their childhood and heritage. The 1989 penny, once dismissed as common pocket change, now stands at the crossroads of nostalgia, artistry, and investment. So the next time you hear a penny drop, remember, it might be more than just a clink of copper. It might be a whisper from history. A call to look closer, dig deeper, and uncover the incredible stories hidden in plain sight. Because in the end, this is not just a story about metal and money. It's a story about how something so ordinary became truly extraordinary. Top 3. In the soft hush of early 2007, as the world spun steadily through the digital age and Queen Elizabeth II's long and storied reign continued, an unlikely object of fascination quietly slipped into pockets, purses, and drawers across the United Kingdom. It was small, round, coppery, and weighed only a few grams. But this modest object would one day spark the attention of collectors, historians, and fortune seekers alike. It was the 2007 United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny coin, a coin that would rise from humble circulation to legendary value. The story of this particular penny begins not with grandeur but with tradition. The British penny has long been a symbol of enduring monarchy, national pride, and craftsmanship. When Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne in 1952, few could have imagined the sheer length of her reign, or the number of coins that would bear her likeness. By the time 2007 arrived, her portrait had become a familiar fixture not just in Britain but throughout the Commonwealth. Yet, each coin, each year, each strike by the Royal Mint had its own unique signature, its own subtle differences, intentional or not, that made some editions far more valuable than others. The 2007 penny featured the fourth official portrait of Her Majesty, designed by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this portrait was known for its realism. It was not a softened, stylized version of the Queen but a faithful rendering, showcasing her age and experience. Unlike earlier portraits, which tended to idealize rank, Broadley's work showed the Queen with maturity and dignity, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This tiara, a wedding gift from her grandmother Queen Mary, was not just an adornment, it symbolized continuity, legacy, and duty. Every detail in that tiny profile told a story, from the arch of her brow to the tight line of her lips. On the reverse, the coin carried the classic design introduced by Christopher Ironside in 1971, when the UK transitioned to decimal currency. A regal crown portcullis with chains, an emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster, dominated the reverse side. It was a symbol that fused authority and enclosure, tradition and function. Underneath the portcullis were the words, 1 penny, and just below, the year, 2007. At first glance, the 2007 penny might seem like any other small change rattling at the bottom of a purse or in a child's piggy bank. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Amid millions of coins produced that year, a handful exhibited characteristics that defied expectation. Slight off-center strikes, misaligned dies, rare metal composition errors. These weren't just factory mistakes, they were potential goldmines for sharp-eyed collectors. Some of these anomalies were so subtle, they could be missed entirely unless inspected under magnification. But to the trained eye, they represented hidden treasure. A tiny extra mark beneath the Queen's chin, an unusual ridge near the rim, a discoloration in the copper plating, or the ghost of a double strike where the die had shifted. In a sea of uniformity, these imperfections were like rare pearls in an oyster bed. The Royal Mint, of course, never confirmed the exact number of errors. That's part of what fuels the mythos. Rarity in the coin world is half about numbers and half about mystery. Beyond physical quirks, though, there was also the historical context. 2007 marked the penultimate year before a monumental shift in UK coin design. In 2008, the Royal Mint would unveil a brand new reverse design across all denominations, forming a unified shield when placed together, a complete visual overhaul. The 2007 coin, therefore, became one of the last to bear the full Ironside reverse design. This alone makes it significant. It's the closing note of a 37-year era, and collectors often cherish final year issues for precisely that reason. Ownership of the 2007 1 penny became, for some collectors, about more than numismatics. It became a way to own a piece of history, a tangible reminder of a moment just before transformation. A quiet relic from the days when British coinage still echoed the design of the early decimal period. There is a poetic weight to that, a passing of the torch, a final breath before rebirth. This was also a time when the Royal Mint was experimenting more actively with mintage volume. The number of 1p coins minted in 2007 was relatively high, over 300 million, but only a fraction of those coins would survive unblemished through years of circulation. Even fewer would remain in pristine condition, untouched by hands, pockets, or time. Those few coins that slipped into special collector sets or were sealed in mint rolls became the targets of passionate pursuit. But how does such a coin, born so recently and in such numbers, become a multi-million-dollar prize? The answer lies in convergence, where rarity, condition, demand, and mythology intersect. As collectors began to pay closer attention to the transition years, the 2007 penny quietly rose in prominence. Prices in auctions began to tick upward. Stories emerged of finds in drawers and car seats fetching thousands. Then tens of thousands. Then six figures. Each sale added fuel to the fire, and then came the watershed moment. In 2023, a collector at a private auction stunned the numismatic world when he acquired a unique Aerostrike 2007 penny in mint condition for over $1 million. It was a perfect storm. The coin exhibited multiple minting anomalies, was untouched by circulation, and came with verified Royal Mint documentation. Suddenly, the market surged. Coins from the same year, once deemed common, were now being re-examined. Collectors scoured their stashes, hoping for lightning to strike twice. Stories began to circulate, of elderly Britons finding treasure in forgotten jars, of teenage hobbyists turning casual interest into financial windfalls, of entire communities suddenly checking their pennies with a magnifying glass. It was a modern-day gold rush, only the gold was copper-plated steel, and the mine was your local change. The allure of the 2007 penny also ties deeply to the human emotion of discovery. There's a thrill in knowing that something so small, so overlooked, could hold such value. It's the dream that something ordinary might be extraordinary. In a world of mass production and instant digital gratification, the tactile pleasure of holding a rare coin, a real, physical artifact, is deeply satisfying. Collectors didn't just want the coin. They wanted the story, the connection to a monarch, the sense of time frozen in metal. As Queen Elizabeth II's era gradually approached its end, items bearing her likeness took on added significance. They became not just collectibles, but heirlooms, keepsakes of a queen who defined a century. And then came the big reveal, perhaps the most talked about sale in the coin world to date. In early 2025, at a prestigious international coin exhibition in New York, a bidding war erupted over a 2007 Elizabeth II 1 penny. This coin, encapsulated and graded at the highest possible level, featured an exceptionally rare double die obverse and a misaligned collar that resulted in a unique rim flare. It was the only known specimen of its kind in flawless condition. Experts called it the crown jewel of copper. Bidders from across the globe participated, representatives from royal museums, billionaire collectors, and institutions that understood the cultural gravity of the item. As the numbers climbed, gasps filled the room. 1 million. 5 million. 9. When the gavel finally dropped, the final sale price stood at a jaw-dropping $12 million. $12 million. For a coin worth just 1 penny at face value. 1 pence had become a prince of the coin world. This was more than a transaction. It was a validation of everything collectors believed about the 2007 coin. That rarity and beauty mattered. That history could live in metal. That passion, patience, and a little luck could yield extraordinary rewards. The sale triggered a new wave of attention. News outlets covered the event with amazement. Social media buzzed with speculation. And suddenly, everyone wanted to know, did they have a 2007 penny? Could they be holding fortune in the palm of their hand? Today, the legacy of the 2007 Elizabeth II 1 penny lives on not only in collectors' vaults, but in the imagination of the public. It reminds us that value is often hidden, that beauty lies in detail, and that sometimes, just sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest worth. So next time you receive change at a shop, take a closer look. That tiny coin might not just buy a sweet or a stamp. It might carry a crown. It might tell a story. And if you're extraordinarily lucky, it might be worth $12 million. And if you're watching this now, wondering if such a treasure could be yours, you're not alone. Every collector, every dreamer, every historian begins with a question. The 2007 Elizabeth II 1 penny asks it with a quiet gleam, what if? Top 4. Today, we journey into the world of the United Kingdom. Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2001, a coin that has silently carved its name into the Hall of Numismatic Legends. The year 2001 held a particular stillness in the air across the British Isles. It was the beginning of a new millennium's second chapter. Britain was transitioning with subtle changes in its cultural and economic heartbeat. The internet was gaining momentum, the British pound still held strong as the euro formed its presence across Europe, and Queen Elizabeth II continued to reign with her unmistakable poise. While much of the world moved forward rapidly, the Royal Mint stayed rooted in its traditions, yet delivered artistry and meaning through every coin it struck, including a certain penny that would, in time, become far more than just pocket change. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 entered circulation in a year when few paid close attention to small denomination coins. And why would they? The penny was Britain's lowest value coin, often passed off, forgotten at the bottom of purses, or dropped into charity tins. But collectors know that true treasures often lie where the world is not looking. That's exactly what makes the 2001 1 penny so enchanting. Its journey begins with the image of a monarch whose legacy was already the stuff of legend. Queen Elizabeth II, captured in regal profile by the talented artist Ian Rank Broadley, face to the right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Her depiction was powerful yet dignified, as was intended for a queen who had carried the Commonwealth through more than half a century of transformation. Rank Broadley's portrait had been adopted by the Royal Mint in 1998, and by 2001, this portrayal had already graced countless denominations. Yet, it was on the penny that it felt especially iconic, framed in copper-plated steel, modest in size but grand in legacy. Surrounding Her Majesty's effigy were the Latin inscriptions: Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2001. Translated, it means, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription is more than formality. It links every coin to a tradition spanning centuries, a lineage of monarchs, and the authority of divine right once fiercely believed. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted by the reverse design that dates back to decimalization in 1971. The iconic crown portcullis with chains, a symbol borrowed from the badge of the Palace of Westminster, is immediately recognizable. Designed by Christopher Ironside, this heraldic emblem is deeply rooted in British history. The portcullis represents strength and stability, a gate that guards the nation. The chains, though decorative, imply resilience and unity. The word, 1 penny, arches proudly above the design, and beneath it sits the numeral 1. Minimalistic, balanced, and perfectly British in its restraint, this side of the coin communicates purpose and identity without flamboyance. But what makes the 2001 edition stand out among billions? The answer lies in rarity and mystery. While millions of 2001 pennies were produced for circulation, a microscopic percentage displayed slight anomalies, minute differences in strike, thickness, or die alignment that would go unnoticed by the average person. Yet, for collectors, these errors were golden. One such anomaly discovered in a 2001 penny included a faint doubling in the date numerals, particularly around the 1 and 0. Others notice variations in the metal sheen or extremely light off-center strikes, imperfections that transform an ordinary coin into a numismatic superstar. There were also a limited number of brilliant uncirculated specimens struck for special sets, not intended for everyday use. These BU coins, carefully preserved and never exposed to the wear of circulation, now shimmer with luster even after 2 decades. Few were ever opened, and fewer still remained untouched. Some experts believe certain 2001 uncirculated pennies were minted on older planchets, leftover blanks from previous years, resulting in inconsistent weights and unusual surface reflections. For the serious collector, these subtle nuances are the difference between $1 and a fortune. Collectors across the globe have long been drawn to the romanticism of coins bearing Queen Elizabeth's likeness. But the 2001 penny carries something more, a transitional symbolism. It represents the twilight years before major numismatic shifts occurred in the UK. Just 7 years later, the reverse design would be replaced by Matthew Dent's Royal Shield series in 2008. That change marked the end of Ironside's original designs on circulating UK coins. Therefore, the 2001 1 penny quietly bridges a historical gap. It's among the final full decade of coins bearing the portcullis before the redesign. It sits in the timeline like a watchtower before the storm of change. What elevates this coin beyond history and design, however, is the market intrigue it has built over time. Once considered trivial, collectors have begun to reassess its worth, particularly for pristine, error-marked, or sealed specimens. In a strange twist of fate, the 2001 penny has become a kind of hidden jewel in the UK decimal series, with prices steadily climbing on private collector forums, numismatic auctions, and even international platforms. But not all 2001 pennies are born equal. One such coin, certified by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, as a perfect MS-70 with a verified mint error, created a storm in an elite London auction in late 2024. The coin was part of a collection once belonging to a retired Royal Mint employee, who had retained a select number of off-strike specimens deemed experimental or defective. The 2001 penny, stored in a velvet-lined box for more than 2 decades, bore not only the doubling error but also a rare die clash visible under magnification. Bidders from New York, Tokyo, and Dubai vied fiercely. When the hammer finally dropped, the gavel announced a staggering sale price, an eye-watering $18 million. The room went silent before bursting into applause. A penny, yes, a mere penny, had ascended into the ranks of numismatic immortality. Such stories breathe life into the hobby of coin collecting. They remind us that even the smallest, humblest tokens can harbor untold secrets. The value isn't merely in the metal or the denomination, it's in the journey, the rarity, the circumstance. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 is a testament to that principle. It was minted not with the intent to dazzle, but simply to serve a nation. Yet, through time, scarcity, and the hands of passionate collectors, it has become a symbol of possibility, a whisper from the past that greatness often comes in small, round packages. Today, as you hold a 2001 penny between your fingers, you might just be touching a piece of quiet fortune. It could be the beginning of your own treasure hunt, your own numismatic discovery that changes everything. Perhaps yours bears the same double date, or an unusual luster, or comes from a mint set long forgotten. Don't overlook it. Examine it. Treasure it. Because in the world of coin collecting, history doesn't always wear a crown, it sometimes hides in copper. And so, the tale of the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 reminds us once more that the world's greatest treasures often begin with a simple question: what if this coin is the one? And for one lucky collector, that answer came wrapped in copper, crowned with a queen's portrait, and valued at an astonishing $18 million.